Okay, first things first, don't worry, I'm fine. Everything is all good. I can still dance like an awkward 8th grader. But yes, I was in a car accident and it was a pretty weird experience. It's also an interesting story, so let's talk about it. It was just a normal day. I was driving to Columbus so that I could attend an entrepreneurial event. It was actually a meetup for our Columbus e-commerce group. It was supposed to be a great time. We were gonna go see this business and they were gonna give us a tour of their manufacturing plant. For some people, that may sound super boring, but for entrepreneurs like me, that was super awesome. It's like a field trip that you get to go on that you've been looking forward to for 2 weeks. It was gonna be a blast. I was so excited about it. I got there 2 hours early, so that meant I had to find a coffee shop to hang out, chill, and just do a little work before the meetup. That was kind of my game plan anyway. I had my laptop, I had a couple videos I needed to edit, so that was the plan. I was looking for some different coffee shops around, found a Tim Hortons. I had a gift card to Tim Hortons, so everything was perfect. That was the plan. I had already driven by the place where we were going to be meeting up to check out the manufacturing plant, so I knew where I needed to be in 2 hours. Next was get to Tim Hortons, plugged it into my GPS, and was on the way. It was just 3 minutes down the street. I pulled up to a stoplight. I could see Tim Hortons just on the other side. It was literally 30 seconds away. Stopped at the stoplight, hanging out, thinking about, great, I'm gonna get some tea when I get to Tim Hortons. I'll pop up my laptop, I'm gonna get a couple videos done, then I'm gonna go on this awesome tour of this manufacturing plant. Life is good. Then the light turns green. I slowly press my foot on the gas pedal and begin to go and head over to Tim Hortons. However, unfortunately, I did not make it to good old Tim Hortons. As I pressed on the accelerator, out of nowhere, this car just barrels into the front right side of my car. Honestly, I had no idea what was happening. I didn't even see the car coming. I had just begun to press on the gas pedal to start moving into the intersection when the light had turned green for me. The next thing I remember, I'm gripping my steering wheel. I'm feeling my car kind of turning around from the impact of the car that had ran a red light. And I remember thinking, wow, I am in a car accident right now. This is actually happening. However, after my car came to a stop after that crazy impact, I sat there for a second, I'm like, wow, okay, so this really did happen. This was a car accident. I think I'm okay. I'm still here physically, that's a good sign. Oh my gosh, maybe I've been shot.
I've been shot.
Maybe something crazy has happened. I know in the movies when the adrenaline is pumping, you can't really tell if you're injured. Oh my gosh, let's double check. But other than just like a little pain in my rib and my neck, like everything was okay. I felt pretty good. I'm like, all right, sweet, I'm here. I'm alive, I'm good to go. Next thought was, how is my car doing? That made me a little nervous because I could already tell that the front of my car was pretty heavily damaged. However, as I was kind of scoping out my car a little bit, I turned around and I saw the result of the car accident. The car that had hit me after running a red light had hit the front right side of my car and then veered off to the right and then hit another car that was on the other side of the traffic light. And that's what I saw over the backside of my shoulder. That car that had hit me had hit another car and they were stuck together in the middle of the intersection because my car had got hit so hard, I went through the intersection and spun to the other side and was just on the side of the road. As I'm looking back over my shoulder, I'm seeing the guy that hit me and hit that other car getting out of his car. First I'm thinking like, okay, great, he's getting out of his car. I mean, at least he's good to go. He's not injured. That must mean it's time to talk about insurance, trade all that information, because I have had no car accidents, no tickets, nothing like that had ever happened to me before. So that's just what I assumed, since that's how the stories typically go. I know you had to trade information. That was probably what was gonna happen next. It's like, okay, cool, I gotta get out of my car, I gotta get my information so we can trade. Looking back, I probably should have been a little more angry because he just ran a red light, destroyed my car, and would have potentially killed me in the process. The only thing I was thinking about was getting my insurance out, trading information. As I saw him getting stuff from his car, I knew I had to get out of mine, so I first tried to get out of my driver's side door. and my car was not hit on the driver's side, so of course nothing should have been wrong with my door. However, this guy hit my car so hard that it hit the front metal and all the stuff that was in the front of my car and shoved it and jammed it all into the front other side of my car, and that jammed my driver's side door shut. Insane. I was like, okay, well, gotta get out of my car. So I lean over and just kick the door open, which was pretty cool, by the way. I wish you could have seen it. However, after I was finally out of my car, the guy that had hit me had gathered the things out of his car, which I thought would have been insurance and the paperwork and all that kind of stuff. He was running around the front of my car and running away from the accident. What? He was literally running away. I had no idea what was happening. He was literally fleeing the scene of a crime after hitting my car very intently, and after hitting another car on top of that. He was literally running away. Of course, I had just gotten in a car accident, so I was a little bit in shock from that experience. And then I see this dude that had just hit me and hit another guy running around the front of my car and fleeing the scene of a crime. What in the world? I had no idea what was going on. So of course my first reaction is to just say, what the hell, dude? Not my finest moment. But honestly, it was probably good that I was not 100% coherent at that moment, because if I was, I would have been extremely angry and I would have seen him running away, so I would have 100% chased after him, tackled him, and made sure he realized that he was at fault in this entire scenario, and on top of that, had threatened my life, which is not cool to do, bro. Especially when you're trying to run away after doing all that. However, I was not 100% coherent, so I let the guy go, which was probably the smarter decision. Because if you're fleeing the scene of a crime, there are probably a variety of things wrong with you. 1, you probably have a warrant for your arrest. 2, you probably do not have car insurance. 3, that makes you a sketchy person. 4, sketchy people often have guns, knives, and other scary things that can hurt you, so it's probably not the best to chase those types of individuals down. Well, now that that guy was sprinting away, I turned my focus on the car that was also in the accident with me. Thankfully, those two guys were already getting out of their car, so they were all right. We exchanged information and talked about the weirdness of somebody literally fleeing after hitting 2 cars. This guy just ran away. I still can't get over that. Like, is that even real? Does that happen? After the 3 of us made sure that we were all okay, I had the pleasure of calling 911. Somebody call 911. Shawty fire burning on the dance floor. Now let's get this straight. I have never called 911 before, thankfully, which is a good thing. But you see it in the movies and all of that in the stories, and I knew it was a pretty big deal. So I took on that responsibility, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I'm about to do it. Let's see how it works. Type 911 into my phone, and when I press the call button, it automatically notifies the 911 directory that you have a specific location, and it even shows you that location on your smartphone. Thought that was pretty cool. However, everything kind of went downhill from there. You know how it works when you see a really attractive person and you're looking at them and you're about to walk up to them and talk to them, and then when you start to say words, they don't really become words. Yeah, so you know, that is kind of how it happened with me and the 911 operator, just because I thought the experience was gonna be so cool. I get to talk to 911, it's just like the movies, but I definitely failed. My first line was not even cool. They answer, pick up the phone, and say, hello, 911, what is your emergency? And I said, well, I'm not really sure. I think I was in a car accident. I was coherent enough to know I was just in a car accident, but I already screwed up the very first line of my first ever experience calling 911. Great. It didn't get better from there, unfortunately. I continued by trying to explain where I was, which I didn't really even know the location. I didn't know the road names and street signs around there. That took me about 2 minutes to describe. Eventually, the 911 operator cut me off in a polite way and said, "Oh, were you a part of this accident at this location? We've already had a pedestrian, a third party, call in the accident." So that was great. As soon as the accident happened, there was a random bystander that happened to call it in and let the police and emergency systems know. Whoever you were, person out there that called in to let them know that my accident happened, thank you. The coolest part was they actually asked me a question that you kind of see in CSI Miami and all that kind of stuff. They said, "All right, did you get a good look at the guy?" I said, "Yeah, I kind of did. Could you give us a description, please?" So just like in the movies, I got to give a description of the bad guy so the police could go and find him. Thankfully, I was able to handle that with a little bit of finesse and finished explaining what the perpetrator looked like. After all of this, sadly, my car, unsurprisingly, was unable to run, so they had to get a tow truck to take her away. She's in a better place now. My car was totaled, and it looked like it too. Like I said, the guy hit me on the front right side, kind of around the tire well of my car. I'm okay. Thankfully, that's what I'm really happy about. And really, if I had pressed on the accelerator a little bit faster, the car that had hit me would have probably T-boned my car and plowed it into the passenger side, almost parallel to where I was sitting, and I don't know how I would have fared if that would have happened. Looking back, I am blessed by God's grace to make it out of there with just a few bumps and bruises. So thank you, Lord, for being in my corner on that one. I really do appreciate you letting me stick around to be able to tell the tale. Really, how absurd is it that the guy ran away? I still can't get over that. Like, is that just a thing that happens? If you hit someone, how do you just run away and leave your car there? Like, we can just track you down. We can look up your license plate number. You have things in the car. I find that hilarious, so I thought it would be nice to share this interesting story with you, to tell you that I'm okay, and I appreciate all of the thoughts and prayers. Thanks for listening to this weird, absurdly random, scary, and awkward story. Let's hug it out. Let's hug it out. Oh, yeah.